out west. FAMU, Willie Simmons departed.
Yep.
Their lead recruiting coordinator departed, and they're having some turmoil, which we won't really get too much into between the athletic director and the alumni. How are you feeling about the current state of things? Because that's a tough way after you win the Celebration Bowl.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be celebrating. You're supposed to be, adding. And we saw them initially added a bunch of recruits under Coach Simmons. Because when you win, that's what happens. People are going to play for you.
Mm-hmm.
Still in recruits from Florida State. How are you feeling about the current state of FAMU?
I've talked to you about this before. Quite honestly, I'm a little disappointed as far as just an overall fan of football.
You love Coach Simmons too.
Yeah, all that as well. So I think, you look at FAM, they had potential to be such a big juggernaut in this conference. Absolutely. They finally got over that hump. Obviously, Coach Simmons, he left for another opportunity at Duke, and he said that was some of his aspirations, to be in that position. So I can't fault him for that. But you like to see a group like FAM, you kind of keep it more together. I feel like now you're kind of seeing things. You're starting to see more cracks. Yeah. So I mean, from a Bama State fan,
you love it.
Yeah, you love it because you're getting weaker up at the top. But I think from an overall football perspective, I would like to see them kind of put it together because I think you did have something really, really special there, and I hate to see it kind of just all end in a couple of weeks, but more so a couple of months.
I feel the same way. I mean, like you said, obviously you want to. You can't control what happens around you. Mm-hmm. You can't control if what way coaches get fired in your division or what coaches retire or any of that. Yep. But you do want to. I get the vibe from Coach Robinson that he wants to beat you at your best. He doesn't want to beat you if at your second level or whatever case may be. Mm-hmm. But you also got to mention this ain't about Jackson State. That's still going to be a juggernaut to deal with there. Jackson, Mississippi.
For sure.
Jackson State ain't going nowhere.
I think TC Taylor has done a great job.
He restocked.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I think ultimately, regardless of what they look like, you're still going to have to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Regardless of who.
Everybody's still a problem. You still have just what looks good on paper, and we know this from NBA to NFL. What looks good on paper doesn't always translate to the field.
You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't put it together, then it doesn't mean anything.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But as far as who do you think they should hire for the coaching spot? Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've heard names like Ed Reed. I don't think he's someone who's in the running because the drama that comes behind him.
Yeah.
Fred McNair didn't get the Texas Southern job, so now he's available. Do you go that route? And there's been a couple other names that you have pulled up currently.
I really love the fit for Billy Rowe. I think obviously he's a historic coach in the state of Florida. So I think and he has a lot of ties to FAM as well. I think he to me feels the best. Like as far as he has to have relationships with some of the guys that are still on the team. Obviously he was with Coach Simmons for a long time. It's a move that I feel like makes too much sense, and I feel like because it makes too much sense, they're not going to do it.
Because the same thing we're going to get to in a minute. We'll take something. The move that we thought was going to happen didn't end up happening.
Yeah, so I would love to see Coach Rowe, take that helm. I think, anytime that you're talking about replacing a coach like Willie Simmons, I think it takes a guy that is familiar with the program, familiar with the state, familiar with all of these different types of aspects that goes into being in this conference. So I would love to see it, but we'll see. We're waiting to see if that actually happens. Yeah, for sure.
It's very interesting how Nick Saban retired, mm-hmm. and they still found a way to hire a coach before Texas Southern.
And Texas Southern been looking for what, 2-3 months? Feel like and then hired a coach before FAMU. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole different something like that. I really, as much as FAMU fans, SWAC fans in general aren't the biggest fan of Ed Reed. I think if you're talking about continuing the dynasty, mm-hmm. with him having so many ties to Florida, him going to Miami, him probably having some ties to some of the local Florida high schools, mm-hmm. he'd probably be your best option as far as the starter. When you look at it from a recruiting standpoint or a standpoint of hiring a quote unquote celebrity coach.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree that if you look at the landscape of all of them, I agree that he would probably be a better option.
Yeah. But as far as fit and sticking there, because I don't want to get. I hate the fact that we're getting into this situation where now. Cause I feel like from here on forward, every time a SWAC coach wins a SWAC championship, is he gone? Somebody will offer some more money for a positional coach, a coordinator job, or even a head coach. I don't want it because we over the last 2 years, we've seen Dion leave, Coach Simmons leave. You can't tell me if Ed Reed were to go to FAMU, win a SWAC championship, or better yet, a Celebration Bowl, he's not walking out the door.
It's hard, man, because I think anytime, and we talked about this before, and that's honestly not what this episode is about, because I think we can make a whole episode about players and coaches leaving to go to P5s, leaving to go to better opportunities. Mm-hmm. I think it's really all about kind of what is your goal. I feel like Coach Simmons was really up and honest about his goals and kind of what he wanted to do as a coach.
He knew he wasn't going to be there. Like how Dion said, I didn't say I was going to die in Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, now that time has passed, I think I have a little bit more of different feelings about Dion and his decision. Obviously, you would have loved to see him kind of handle things a little bit better. I don't think that's ever going to change as far as my stance on it. But I think right now, it's really a toss-up. I think anytime that you want to go out like Coach Simmons did. There's nothing else we can win. We won the SWAC, we won the Celebration Bowl. Like there's nothing else that we can do. You set that program up for success, and honestly, and the sad part is it's up to whoever else is there to kind of deal with the results of it. But I think I'm hoping that's not the case. Every time a coach wins a Celebration Bowl, they're out. But who knows?
Yeah, I dislike that very, very much. I also think that how did you feel about him accepting a running back? I understand it financially. Mm-hmm. Financially, it makes a lot of sense. If that's the closest you're going to get to coaching a Power 5, whatever situation, wherever you have it.
Yeah,
that's a good stepping stone for sure. But we both can say we think he's worthy of more.
Mm-hmm. I think, and I think that's a tough thing because realistically, the ties that he has to the coach of Duke and the relationships there. You may not get as high. There's no guarantee that you win a Celebration Bowl next year. There's no guarantee, however favored you are. We saw that with North Carolina Central. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee that you're going to get back to the top of the mountaintop or even be as good as you were. So I think as far as timing, I think it's probably the best time for it.
Your name is never going to be as hot as it is right
exactly.
now.
I think Duke is an organization that may not be.
They're
not the juggernaut that they have been in basketball. Mm-hmm. In football, they're not. But I think ultimately, you look at a position coach. Everybody got to start somewhere. There's no guarantee how long he stays there. He could be there for a year, and then now you're an assistant or something like that.
But at least this can do. If a situation comes, God forbid, knock on wood, there's no wood in here. The Duke coach ends up getting fired, mm-hmm. and they tell him to take his whole staff with him. Guess where he's always guaranteed a job? In HBCU. He will always have a guaranteed job at the HBCU, no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. I think he also has such respect for HBCUs and HBCU culture mm-hmm. that I think you may see some dividends happening, throughout his time in P5, throughout his time at PWI. So I definitely, I wish him the best. I'm definitely happy for him for that opportunity. And
for us,
yeah. Ultimately,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a transition and stay on coaching.